Hello, everybody. Sorry, I am absolutely off my schedule today. I'm house sitting and I have a cat and a dog here, and I literally had to break up a cat and dog fight. There was absolutely ground shattering noise. There's no way I could have gone live earlier. But this is real life. This is the difference between pre recorded video and live streaming, right? You have to deal with real things happening. So now that I've got the cat and the dog separated in different rooms, um, I should be able to talk to you guys uninterrupted. So fingers crossed. And this is an important one because today I want to talk to you about entrepreneur loneliness. So anybody who's a remote worker or even people who are now back in the office but had to stay home during COVID, you guys know that it is not easy, right? Mentally, we're talking about the mental impact right now of remote working on a person. And I particularly wanted to address this for entrepreneurs just because we didn't go back to the office, right? So most of us are still at home. If you're a solopreneur, some of us rent spaces, depends on what you're doing. If you're treating patients, then maybe you have an office space. But if you're working online, it doesn't really make sense to rent an office space. I have had office space before in my life, and it's pretty awesome. But right now, it doesn't make sense for me. So if something changes, I'll happily get an office. But in the meantime, the truth is that a lot of entrepreneurs are working alone. So all day long, the only people that you see are your family members, the mailman, and your animals, if you have pets. Hopefully no dog and cat fights, though, like I had today. That was really intense. But definitely, you have to really figure out how are you going to take care of your mental health when you're working alone. There's no water cooler discussions, coffee breaks, meetings that you get to interact with people physically in the same room. So as an entrepreneur, how do you deal with that? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the main thing, the secret to everything is scheduling. Everything has to be thought out so that you can get a good balance. The last thing you want is to be sitting alone in front of your computer day in, day out. That's just boring, right? Even if you're meeting with people virtually online, you need to make sure that you're doing more than that. So first and most importantly is to try to define clean work times. So I like to teach people to work within their flow. If you're a morning person, then that would be obviously first thing after you wake up. Use those morning hours to get all the bulk of your work done because you're going to be very productive. And if on the contrary, you're an evening person, then use those hours. Easy, right? So as soon as you know which end of the spectrum that you're at, then it will be much easier for you to plan the rest of your day. All right. Because to be honest, there's a task that might take you either half an hour or it could take you 3 hours because you're just not in the flow. You're procrastinating. It's not the right time of the day for your brain to function. And so you don't want to go against your flow. Go with your flow, whatever that looks like. About the mailman, Kim says, yes, I've gotten to know my letter carrier very well. Exactly. And then if you have pets, then all the pets rush towards the door. There's somebody outside. But that's the reality. And not all of us, some people I know, they work, they're in remote locations. They physically just, where are they going to drive to? So it doesn't make sense. So they literally are all the time in their home working. And there's nothing wrong with that. No one is telling you that you have to be lonely and depressed working from home. But depending on what type of person you are, certain people are going to suffer more than others. So if you're an introvert, you're probably like, what are you talking about? I love it. I'm working from home. But even introverts there can be like an unhealthy type of thing happening. So I think that extroverts, they really want to go out. They really want to see people. So that's the second tip that I have for you today is know who you are. And then again, use the scheduling to plan activities accordingly. So if you're an introvert and you really don't want to go out, force yourself outside of your comfort zone to go to like one networking event per month. Like join an association that you know that there could be potential clients there, or you just enjoy it. So, not everything's about work here either. Your mental health is so tied into you just having fun, laughing, relaxing, taking care of yourself. So if you are working from home all day, by all means, figure out some kind of place you can go to meet other people. Like I said, it could be once a month, a networking event that happens the association hosts like a meetup or something. It could be privately, but please find that and find what I call your tribe, right? And this could be like-minded entrepreneurs. LinkedIn Local, big shout out to Anna McAfee. You should follow her if you don't know her. She's a LinkedIn coach based in Australia. And she started a movement like 4 years ago called LinkedIn Local. And it was because she was stuck at home all day. She started talking to people online that weren't that far away. And she said, why don't we go to a coffee shop and have like an official meeting? And she named it kind of as a joke, or someone else named it LinkedIn Local. And it took off and it spread like wildfire in multiple countries. And I even hosted some of them in San Francisco, where I'm from. So you see, that's the thing. People sooner or later need to be around other people. And if you're just with your spouse and your kids or your goldfish all day, that's not a good idea. Also, there's too much temptation in your house. There's a few things that could happen to you if you're not careful. I'm going to tell you in a minute. Sanjay, thanks for stopping by. He asked, how can I make people understand and connect with me and join my institution? Now, institution may not be the right word. Are you talking about a community? So you don't make people do anything. If you're wanting to start a meetup, then you have to make sure that you tell people where they hang out. Go find them and talk about it and explain to people what benefit they can get out of it, and then organize the meetup. Hey, I've done it many times. So that's my tip for you, Sanjay, is you don't people don't need to be convinced. That's absolutely not the way it works. They need to feel, that sounds interesting, I'll come, or no, it's not for me. Okay, no biggie, right? But the main thing I want you guys to do is figure out, so what did I say so far? I said, figure out the time of the day that you're going to be committed to work. So when I said you're committed, brains are not designed to multitask. We're not designed to switch and stop and go. And you will really, really hurt your productivity if you try to do that. So find a time when you can work uninterrupted. And there's two types of work, right? There's the work that requires a lot of brain capacity, and there's work that you can kind of do without too much mental stress. All right. So think about those types of work and then organize your day accordingly. So I don't have a to-do list. I have 3 tasks that I have to do every day. So when I look at them, I write them down physically, and then I'm like, okay, these are the 3 tasks. So if during the day I get distracted or whatever, I know exactly I can come back to my list. it's just kind of a mental aid for me to help to see that on paper, and exactly no more than 3 things, because you need to keep things simple, right? Um, that's number 1. And number 2 is plan in time for your health. So what does that look like? Well, throughout the day, there's multiple things that you need to do to take care of yourself. So number 1 is a morning routine. I'm a big fan of setting up a morning routine. Number 2 is making sure you're eating a healthy lunch, right? So if that requires, maybe that's the moment that you actually want to go out. And even if you're not talking about spending money, going to some paying for your lunch, you could just take your lunch in a Tupperware container and go outside in the nature. It could just be as simple as in your backyard, or you could actually get on your bike and ride somewhere, and do a little picnic and really enjoy the hour. At lunch, I like to listen to audiobooks and podcast episodes. And so we need a mental break. So make sure that you're planning your day with your health in mind. The rule is to do 10,000 steps per day. So mental and physical are so connected. So if you're feeling depressed and lonely, my first thought is, are you doing a lot of physical activity? Because I literally think it's impossible or nearly impossible to be really physically active and be sad and lonely. I mean, it's a lot harder, okay? Because when you exercise, it releases endorphins. So the more you're moving your body and doing fun things, the better. And even better if you can do it together. Find a group in your city or your town that does morning walks or jogs, or a fitness studio that you can go to, because then you can actually meet people, right? COVID is more or less contained now. So most of the time you can go back to fitness studios and be around people. So think about that. Think about it not because you can't work out by yourself, but because you should be out there meeting other people, just seeing other humans, right? And then I really think it's important a couple of times per month to do those like networking activities. So whether it's a work association, a private group that is like around a hobby that you enjoy, or just meeting up with friends physically in person, I think that for your mental health, this is huge. So, don't leave it to chance. Plan it ahead and say, what, I'm going to try to make sure that I'm doing something every month. That will really help you stay more grounded and well. And then there's a lot of practices that can really clear your mind, like meditation and yoga. These things can completely change how you feel on a day-by-day basis. So those are things I would consider as well. But the other idea that you can do is to join a work co-op. These are spaces, usually in big cities, where solopreneurs get together, and you pay like a membership fee that's usually pretty affordable. And then you can just go there. And depending on what membership you have, you can pay different levels. But there's some pretty cool co-ops that even have like drop-in prices. So if you're just like getting stir crazy, or like, I just need to get out of the house, I can't concentrate, I'm not doing a good job at my work, you can do that. Go take your laptop and go to one of these places. And who knows, maybe it's gonna be enough to go there once a month, or there's all kinds of ways you can do this. Maybe you have to go once a week. Maybe you're going to love it so much. You're like, I just feel so much better around other people, that you're going to want to get a membership that you can come all the time, right? But the main thing is, don't ignore the signs. I take mental health really seriously. I take isolation, feelings of depression, feelings of loneliness really, really seriously. So please don't just ignore it and say, oh, this is okay, because you know, you will develop bad habits. And just being alone inside all the time, that's not what humans are meant to be, right? Sanjay says, okay, he has no feels. Ah, well, Sanjay, probably that's the point. Don't charge fees. Do something for free. The best associations, they start being free, you know? And once you have a lot of people who are loving it, and you know that this is a very popular thing, then you can announce, I've got a paid club. But I would never start something paid without it being popular. You have to first get it to be popular and then convert to a paid program, or start parallel a paid program, where you give people a little bit more, right? Hey, DJ, thanks for stopping by. We're talking about entrepreneur isolation, loneliness, and, you know, you have to go out of your way when you're working from home. You don't have that natural interaction with your colleagues throughout the day. And if you do, it's via a computer. It's not at all the same. So make sure you're getting up and you're walking, you're taking breaks, you're really making a point of getting out. I like to do my nature therapy once a day, which is to go out and do a one walk. Hold on, I'm going to show you guys. I use my watch, this Polar. It's called POLAR, Polar watch. And I think the battery died, but it actually, I'm going to have to charge it here. It actually measures like your steps and gives you your heart rate. And you can even hook it up to your sleep, which is super, super cool. And so that just keeps me honest to know that I'm getting enough exercise. Another hack is to, call up a friend, and you really want to find other solopreneur friends who live in your town, who can meet up with you, because remember, we're all going through the same thing. So if you can find someone who at least wants to go to lunch with you once a month, once a week, who knows, right? Or you create a meetup. If the group doesn't exist, create one. It's not such a big deal, but it could be so beneficial for your mental health that you could create a group, and you can say, anybody who's a solopreneur working from home is welcome to come, and we're just going to meet up and go out for drinks or for coffee or have lunch once a month somewhere. Just because we need to get out, we need to meet other people, right? So think about all these things. And routines are really, really good when you're a solopreneur. So think about, when am I going to start work? When am I going to stop work? And hold yourself to it. Don't let work take over your life, and don't let your life take over work. You can blend the two, but you definitely want to make sure, am I doing the things that I need to be healthy and happy, right? Because no one else is going to do that for you. And that applies whether you're working in an office or for yourself, right? We're adults, but the reality is that a lot of times we don't put ourselves first, and we put work first. We put our family first. We put everything first, the client, whatever they want, before ourselves. And that is super unhealthy. So think about what you can do to really find these rhythms in your day, and to set up these appointments, that's what I'll call them, to get out of your house. Some of the appointments with yourself, like taking nature walks or even having lunch outdoors, but also just, working out, but try as much as possible to think, okay, how many interactions per week can I have with some other people? Just so that you feel like you actually have a life, right? I mean, I know if you have a family and you have friends and stuff, it's good. But I think during the workday, it can be really lonely if the whole day you're just sitting by yourself on a computer, without any colleagues. So make sure that you find that tribe of other people like you, and you're making a point to get out there and talk to them. And I really think this is super important. I don't think people understand how important this is, and that attention Ivy, tu fermes la porte. I'm afraid of the dog fight, guys. The dog. Okay, come.
On the candy.
So what else can I say? What else can I say, guys? You want pumput?
No.
Okay, hold on. I'm not done, Ivy. My daughter's coming out. So Sandra, I don't think your problem, from what you're leaving the comments, I don't think your problem has to do with community. I think you're trying to do something different here. I don't think anyone needs to join anything that's paid unless they see a benefit. So in order for people to see a benefit, you have to do a lot of work, a lot of pre-work. You have to earn that before you start charging fees. I mean, look at the amount of free communities that are out there, right? Facebook groups, all kinds of groups out there, meetups. They don't charge anything. And the whole purpose of that is to develop trust and really find the right people who care about a certain topic, and then start showing up and providing value. So I don't think you can just out the gate set up a paid community and expect it to work. Unless you have all that basis there. You have to do all that pre-work. And that's something that people don't realize. And also you have to really know who the group is, who it's for. And be very, very specific about who you're trying to attract. That really plays a role when you're trying to set up a community. Yeah, so I hope this is helpful a little bit. But it's really, it boils down to having great habits throughout your day and planning ahead so that you know, I'm going to be outside, I'm going to be meeting up with other people.
I'm hungry.
Okay, we're going to help you.
On the candy, let me brush my teeth.
Oh my goodness. But today I didn't have like a big speech prepared for you. I just really wanted to show up and say this one simple message is you don't have to feel isolated. You're not alone. There's a bunch of people out there, and you want to be meeting up with those people. You want to be meeting up with non-work people as well. Just make sure that you are nurturing as much contact as you want to have, that you're not purposely isolating yourself, because friendships are important. Work colleagues don't have to be people from the same company. If you guys work in the same industry, or you guys are both have something in common, like you're both working from home, you both are remote workers, that's an excuse to meet up, right? Just like the LinkedIn local movement, that was an excuse for people who like hanging out on LinkedIn to meet together. And you know, the danger of being an introvert is that you end up thinking, well, I'm an introvert, so it's okay. I'm just going to like be antisocial. And you guys know that that's not the case. There's so many amazing introverted leaders. So what I've learned from working with introverts is you have to kind of adjust a little bit in terms of like being overwhelmed. So going to these massive networking events or conferences, where there's thousands of people, is probably not something you're going to want to do regularly, because for you, it's so draining, and you need time by yourself. For an extrovert, they're like, yeah, party time. But so you know who you are, but don't use introversion as an excuse to isolate yourself, please, because you need to get out there. You need to change. To be honest with you, one of the excuses I hear about why people don't do this is, I live somewhere really remote, it's such a hassle for me. I can't go anywhere. I'm really stuck where I live, right? Well, that I beg to differ, because everybody can find a thing to do, even if it's like once a month. So let's say you live in the middle of nowhere, but once a month, you're going to go to the city and spend a weekend there. I'm sure you can find a way to afford this. There's so many different options between affordable Airbnbs and, affordable hotels. I'm not saying you have to go to a 5-star hotel. And I'm not saying you have to do this in like the top of the season, like during the summer months or something. But what about thinking, okay, I live too far away to be able to meet up with people on a regular basis, but once a month, I'm going to go to the city, and to justify the drive, I'm going to spend the night there. And then it almost feels like a business trip, and it's exciting. It's like I get to go away to this, meet up with people in the city, because that's where the meetups are happening, right? That's just an idea that I have when people tell me it's too far away, right? Once a month, everything's doable. The other excuse I hear from people is, I told you I'm introverted or I'm shy. No, not an excuse. Gotta move, okay? You gotta move. And the last thing I hear from people why they're being at home all the time is because they don't know where to go. They don't know how to find people to meet with. So my advice to you is to go online where you like to hang out. So do some research. First, I would go to Google and look for like associations near me in the city or the geographical location where you're based. That's number one. You probably can find some association that's an industry association if it's a business thing, a pure business networking thing, or it could be a private thing. Like I said, something around your hobbies and interests. So make a list, brainstorm of all the kind of things that are part of who you are, put them all down, and then go on Google and start looking attached to your zip code, attached to your region. And I'm sure, let's say that you're a hobby photographer and you know that makes you happy. Well, if you're working at home all day, maybe you want to join an association around hobby photography that meets up once a month, and you'll make friends, and your mental health will really thank you for this. All right. Same thing with your body. Find a Zumba class and you can dance, do salsa, do Pilates, do something, go out there. If jogging or cycling is your thing, find a group near you that does it. Now, for those groups, Google might not be the best place. Maybe Facebook is better. A lot of associations put up Facebook pages, especially in the fitness sector. If you're a mom and you're isolated all day at home and you're like working, find a group, for moms, working moms or work from home moms, and then put your zip code and see if they have meetups near you. There is no excuse. The excuse is just you have to put in some effort. These things don't just fall from the sky, right? But like anything good in life, you seek and you will find. So that's my advice from you. And the other place is to ask other people. So if you're meeting up with people online, you're like, do you belong to any really good photo clubs? Because maybe they have a group near you. And if you ask other people in the industry, they'll tell you. And maybe you even know people who are local who you could ask them if they are belong to anything. Because I'm looking for excuses for you to get out more and network with people and meet new people, and also indulge yourself in your hobbies, in your physical activities, in your interests, because you will be a better worker. You'll be more creative, more productive, more efficient if you leave your house more often. You leave your house, you get out of your comfort zone, out of your environment. You have to get dressed, you have to wear pants. Yeah. Not like when we're on the computer, we can be in our pajama all day, right? Which I have nothing wrong with, but I'm saying, I'm making a joke here. You got to get out sometime. So make sure that you're thinking about all these things. There's just so many benefits for you. Also, you might get new business, because if you're out there mingling with people, you're doing this on a regular basis, people will know what you do, and that's great for your business too. So I hope this is helpful. It's just really a reminder for you that there are no real good excuses. The last excuse that I'm gonna tell you today, because I've heard all these, people have literally told me all of these things. The last excuse is, Krista, I'm too busy. Like, I'm a freelancer, I'm a side hustler, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I'm juggling so many different projects and so many different clients. The deadlines are really tight, or it's all time-based. Like, I physically have to produce a show or be online or do a live or do a Zoom call. I can't go out. Well, isn't that important to figure out? Number one, is this the life that you like to live? I know I'm being harsh, but I have to ask it. So for me, that doesn't sound like a life. It sounds like a workaholic. And so my question is, why don't you stop? And the real reason behind this is probably you're missing two important things in your business. You're not running a healthy business, because you need two things for a healthy business that obviously aren't there. Number one, you should be charging really high rates, because then you can work with less clients. When you charge higher rates, you don't need 20 clients. And when you only serve a couple of clients, but you're getting paid really well, what does that mean? It means you have a lot more time off. So that is a red flag for me when you tell me I can't leave because I'm just too busy with my clients, too busy with my side hustles or my full-time entrepreneur stuff. I'm like, if you're too busy, then you're probably undercharging if you can't stop, if you can't say no. So what if you're afraid, well, Krista, I could, but they might go somewhere else? Well, to be really frank, I work with a lot of top experts, and they usually have waiting lists, and they're like, you know what, this month I'm full, but next month I can get you in. And for the good ones, you wait. If people come to you all the time with fires to put out last minute, I got to have it right now, not only is that a little bit disrespectful of your time, but it's not really a great client to work with. It sounds like they're a disorganized mess, right? So if someone says, okay, I can work with you 3 weeks from now, that sounds much more reasonable to me. Okay. Especially if you're going to get everything prepared in the meantime, get everything ready to work with them. So that's my answer, is you're probably charging too little if you can't stop. And the other thing you should have in your business are multiple revenue streams. And what that means is, at any moment, you could be forced to take time off. If you got sick, if your loved one got sick, if you have a loss in your family, these are things where you might really want to take time off. In 2020, I lost my dad to COVID, and I did not work for 5 months. Here's the thing. If you have multiple revenue streams, then you're not going to be completely high and dry, because you should always have enough income sources to diversify in case you want to work less. It could be a happy reason too. Maybe you're a mom and your daughter, your son's getting married, your sister's getting married, your brother's getting married, some very close family member, your best friend, you're going to be the bridesmaid of honor or something, and you really want to go to Jamaica. You're like, I want to go to that wedding in Jamaica. So, more or less 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I'm going to be gone. So think about that. Think about those multiple revenue streams, and then think about charging more and making the clients wait, because you're worth waiting for, and you're worth paying for. Don't forget my words. Next time you're talking to a new client, a new prospect, remember Krista said you should be charging more and you should be working less so that you can be healthier, you can be happier, and you can be living the life you actually want to live. All right? Because life is too short to be sitting behind your computer all day long, going from one thing to another, not getting outside enough, not getting physical activity enough, not traveling enough, having fun. Fun is very important. And you'll be more productive. Just get yourself organized. And there's no excuses. So that was the last excuse I wanted to address, why people are feeling isolated but don't feel they have anything they can do about it. And I always love hanging out with you guys. So today I was really, really late. But thank goodness I could still do the event after my big cat dog fight here that I mentioned earlier. But the bottom line is that take care of your mental health and find anything that fills your cup. So I wrote that today on LinkedIn. I put out a post called, how do you fill your cup? And then I put a list of all the things that make me really, really happy. And these are the things that if they're in my day, I know I'm having a good day, right? And to be really honest, it doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't. Stop saying someday I'm going to do this. I'm going to take care of my health. I'm going to spend more time with my loved ones. I'm going to finally go on vacation. This is old school mentality, and you don't need to do that anymore. There's so many ways of creating multiple revenue streams, passive income, organizing your time you own your time, right? So remember that and come hang out with me. The best thing to do, if you like this video, do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right. So this live is going out on YouTube and on LinkedIn. But if you want to get notified when I go live, LinkedIn is really hard to find the events. So come over to my YouTube channel and subscribe, because I have a whole live stream series that you can find out when I'm going to be going live, and you can click the notification for that particular live that you're interested in. All right. And I do these lives once a week. So, and I have a second live I do that's an interview style live. And I also have an audio only event, and I have an audio podcast called Take Back Mondays podcast. So you can go listen to that as well if that's easier for you than watching videos. You prefer audio. I definitely do prefer audio sometimes at certain times of my day. It's just so much easier. And then you can just go to my website /iTunes and you can find my podcast. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for the night, because for me, it's already nighttime. But for everybody else, have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and see you next week. See you real soon. Stay safe, stay well.